yourself whether reality is a dream or you a dream or reality. We're all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole
vibration. Yes, hello, and welcome to the live stream of the consciousness. You have made it. I have made it. We made it together. Here we are, together in intention of being here in the moment, which is kind of cool. It's Thursday, April 24th. That's what it says on the paper. Anyway, we've all agreed to that paper, so we know when to show up. We can agree on points in time and space, because it's all relative to our own point in time and space. So we need some sort of system to communicate. I don't know what I'm babbling about right now, but I'm feeling really good. The energy has been all over the place over the last few months, as many of you guys know. For me personally, a few weeks ago, I was kind of really having a hard time navigating the energy, and then in the last couple of weeks, a lot of things have started to kind of become clear. I've been able to breathe easier and relax. Speaking of that, let's do our space clearing that I've been doing. I love doing this, and I got to give credit to Brian Lahr, the Wizard of Odd, for this practice. I think that it's just really a great intention, a great practice of intention to put yourself in a spot, right? So here you are, it's Thursday night, we're about to embark on a cool conversation. You could just kind of sit down and get into it, or you can settle down and focus your intention. So here we go, the bowl, right? This great singing bowl that I got recently that I just connect with so much. It's actually ringing right now just from my voice. I just love the connection I have with it. But I'm going to clear the space, and I may not have been doing this fully. So let's commit fully to this, and believe me, it will work. Oh, I see the chat room is lighting up. Hello, Kara. Hello, Shining Light. Tim, Lorenz, Ninja Kitty, Helen. Oh my goodness, everybody is out there. Thank you guys for coming. So what I want you to do is, again, very intentionally, breathe in through your nose, and as you're doing that, just feel the air come into your nose, feel it come into your lungs, feel it fill you up, and then release it. And then just do that a couple of times. Let it happen. You don't have to think about breath. Breath just happens. As I'm doing the bowl, let's clear the space. Ninja Kitty is reminding me, #live. Type that in the comments if you're here live. If it's April 24th at 9 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, that tells the algorithm people are here. And if you're here on the replay, type in #replay. It tells the algorithm people came back, or people tripped upon it afterwards and are here. So anyway, here we go with the sonic sage, clearing out the space. I love to bring that. Just feel that settle in with your breath. Let it ring out. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you for indulging me. I'm going to put that on the side. I'm going to change my settings. So forgive me. I do notice that as I do this, you guys, it might raise in volume a little bit, but I have to turn cancellation off in order to play the bowl and have you hear it. And then I got to turn it back on in order to bring in my guest so that they're not echoing. So there you go. There's a little lesson in production and how this is working. Tonight, I'm excited. I had an experience this week with Adriana Garay. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who is an amazing, gifted psychic medium and healer and intuitive, who specifically works with spirit guides. And I feel very connected to source, to existence, to to myself and my being, but I don't necessarily have a relationship with my spirit guides on a formal level, meaning like identifying who they are and what they might look like. My relationship has been more intuitive, more intuition and feeling and guts and that kind of thing. So I wanted to explore that a little bit, and that's her specialty, tuning into your personal spirit guides, and kind of helping you make that connection. So I was really excited to have the experience this week with her. I learned the name of my guides. I kind of started to do a little research. I started to feel into it. And it's really amazing when you can let go, how deep it can go, right? How deep you can go in your mind, in the thought realm where reality exists and where these spirit guides exist. You can connect to them. So I'm excited about this conversation. Shining light. I see Ninja Kitty. I love that bowl. Me too. Just such an amazing bowl. Eva is here. Good to see Eva. Excellent. The room is filling up. I love it. I got to start like putting out some nice seats and maybe some coffee cakes and stuff like that for when you guys get here. So thank you guys for being here. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the live stream of consciousness. Tonight's guest, like I said, is an incredible psychic medium, healer, and intuitive. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Adriana Garay. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, you are.
Garay. Okay, cool. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing tonight?
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
I'm glad that you said yes. I'm glad that we met. I love the universe of not coincidences, right? It's not a coincidence that we met. I think we've been put into the same space for a reason. We did have a great session. Shining Light is saying hello, Adriana, and Ninja Kitty is welcoming you as well.
Thank you.
I believe there's no coincidences, right? I mean, we met for a reason, to share our energy and to share our beliefs and kind of, make that connection. So I appreciate you being here. I have a question that I ask all my guests to start the live stream of consciousness. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I actually, after speaking to Lara and you coming on the show, I have a little addendum to the question, a little addition. So the question, to kind of get us on the same page, the live stream of consciousness, what is consciousness? But the addition to that question that I want to pose to you is not only what is consciousness, but how does it apply to you and what you do? Where does it come into play with what you do as far as being intuitive and spiritual medium?
As we all know, consciousness is everywhere. Everything is consciousness, and we are part of the consciousness. We are definitely part of the consciousness. We split from consciousness, from the source, to have personal experiences, and through experiences we grow. We grow as a consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is right in line with the beliefs that we talk about here. The whole idea that consciousness is one, and we've separated from consciousness. And I heard an interesting conversation about that whole concept, right? And spirituality, in that the idea of duality, in that we are the one, but we're also not the one. People sometimes say the separation is an illusion, but the separation is actually a part of the deal, right? I mean, we are separate. We are separate from source in this moment in 3 dimensions. And so, but at the same time, the duality, we are also a part of it. So I love that. I love that. That's awesome. So you've been a psychic medium for a while, and I want to talk about how you got to be who you are and what your specific practice is. But I guess a good way to get there is to the next question I usually ask is if you have a story or memory, a moment that you realized there was more to existence than 3 dimensions.
Yes. I had a few stories, but I think the one that is the most significant, how I got into everything, how I got to start asking questions, and it was when I had awakened. It was kind of awakening when I was, I think, 14 years old, and when I was walking with my mom on the street, and I was born and raised in Poland. That's where I have an accent, by the way.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, and then I end up in Canada, and now I'm in Grenada because I've been told to move and by spirit, as some people will say. So, and I'm just right here in Grenada. So I remember walking, and I remember every detail of that. I remember what I was wearing, and I remember what street it was, everything about it, because it was so important, so significant. And I'm sure we all plan situations like that before we come here. Yeah, so I remember walking on the street with my mom, and because I'm very blonde, I have blue eyes, and my mom kind of look alike, and I think most Polish people look alike like that. And my dad kind of looked like that too, blonde, blue eyes. A lovely gentleman came to my mom and said, "Hello, how are you? How are you doing? How is everything in your life?" And they start having conversation, and he was very nice and to my mom, and they seems like to be good friends. And after the conversation, we start walking home, and I asked my mom who was this lovely gentleman, and he was very different. He was much taller than my dad, and he had very dark hair, very dark eyes, and darker skin. And my mom said, that was actually my boyfriend long time ago, before I met your dad, and I was planning to marry him, but I met your dad, and then I married your dad, and I just, everything just crashed, because I just remember thinking that if she would marry this guy, I would not look like I am. Because he was so different, and even Polish people kind of look the same, but he was different. It was maybe from another country a little bit, or mixed, or something like that.
Okay.
And I remember that was such a shock to me, because I wouldn't, if she married this guy, I wouldn't look like that. So
Right.
then who am I? Because, we were this close to look totally different. And then, so if I will be maybe even born as a boy, and I will have dark hair, who am I? I couldn't sleep for a week. I didn't know what I supposed to do. I was just messed up. I was completely messed up.
Wow, that's an interesting way to be kind of presented with that question, right? And that idea that you could have been somebody else if a decision was made differently.
Yeah, and then it's like the question: I wouldn't be me,
right?
So who am I?
Right. Interesting.
And then I was just in shock, and I was since then I was looking for answers, and I'm sure I planned this, as we all plan the major things in our lives, and then was just like a kind of kickstart for the rest of my life, and that I was searching for the answers. Who am I? And then I found people who explained it to me a few years later. I was pretty young. I think was 16 when I met a group of people, and they were connecting to India meditation and other things. When I end up in India, I start learning meditation, and I always have psychic abilities because I could always see, as I laugh a little bit about it, dead people. But I never speak about it because my family was extremely Christian, and anything like that will not be not be welcome. So
Sure.
I kept to myself, and I was just working on myself, learning meditation, and I left my physical family quite early because I just needed to learn different things.
Wow. Interesting. And again, I feel like that's an interesting way to be introduced to the question of who am I, seeing a situation that could have been different, right? And then starting to, kind of extrapolate out all of the infinite possibilities that could have been. So you started to pursue, okay, who were you, and when did it start to become evident? You said you had psychic abilities and you didn't talk about it. When did it become evident that that was a part of who you were supposed to become now?
Oh, that was not very long time ago because I didn't have time, as most of us had to, survive on this planet. I had to make a living. I was working regular jobs and everything, and then everything changed when COVID came. Everything changed, and my life was turned upside down. And I had to stay home. I couldn't go anywhere like most of us, and I start exploring other things, and I have finally time to do things, and and then there was interesting situation when I got really sick. Not COVID, it's just my back. My back got so bad that I couldn't move, and I'm very fit person, and I have never any health problems. And my lower back got so bad that I couldn't move.
Oh,
I just couldn't move. I was like 100 years old lady, and
wow.
I would I would go to chiropractor. I would do all kind of exercises I was told, and nothing was helping.
Okay.
And I don't know how I would start watching YouTube videos because again it was COVID and nothing you could do. And then Dolores Cannon started popping up, and I knew about Dolores, but not that much. Like um, I read some of her books, but it was a long time ago, and and she started popping up in QHHT session. It's like, all the time. I'm like, what's up with this? And I'm thinking, I always trusted spirit, as I call it, like, the source or whatever you call it. At that time, I didn't even know much about my spirit guides. And I thought, well, I should go for QHHT session to heal my back because maybe something from past life is bothering me. So because it was COVID, it was very hard to find somebody, but I found one lady. She was level 2, so we met, and she did the session. And the first thing my higher self said is, "You need to move to Grenada."
Wow.
I've never been in Grenada. I've been to many Caribbean islands, but never Grenada. I didn't even know what kind of language they speak here.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then was think about my back, and my back got better. Everything was fine. With my higher self spoke why my back, and basically they says they needed my attention, so they have to they mess up my back to get my attention. So I go for QHHT session, and so then 2 months passed, and I'm still thinking about this. Like I was ready to sell my house anyway because I wanted to move to different area, and so I'm thinking, okay, I go for another session, and we'll see what kind of nonsense is this Grenada thing.
Right.
And so I go for another session with totally different practitioner, level 2 as well, and the same thing. You have to move to Grenada. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm moving to Grenada. So because I always trusted spirit, And since I moved, I'm here 4 years. So since I moved to Grenada, everything starts speeding for me. All the abilities are coming. It's just I need to be isolated. They says they isolated me for a reason, that I will be all alone because I don't have any friends here. Well, now I do, but at that time I didn't have any friends and anybody.
Right.
So I had to be on my computer and start learning and start doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And since then, everything speed up and my abilities resurfaced. And of course, I took some courses to kind of harness this gift, because like I had the gift, but I didn't know what to do with that. So I needed a teacher to kind of tell me how to deal with that. But it was just about the mediumship. It was nothing to do with Akashic Records, because they just my guides came to me and says, okay, now you can read Akashic Records. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, you just read Akashic Records. And I'm like, like how you want me to? I said, you figure out.
So that was like a message in like a dream, or like you just like knew suddenly like the Akashic Records was kind of drawing you to research?
I always have on the back of my head about Akashic Records. And I think since I moved here, everything changed because I took the spirit release therapy course. And and that opened so many doors in me. Like new guides came and they start talking to me. I could actually communicate with them. And I'm also transmedium for spirit release. So I could start communicating with my guide like I'm communicating with you. And that was news to me too at that time. But, when it's your time, it's your time. And everything will just start happening. And I just accept it. I always go with the flow.
I think that's an important part. You just mentioned an important part, and I was thinking of that before. It's not about just okay, when it's your time, it's your time. You need to also be accepting of it. You need to be able to receive it and let go and kind of trust it, because I don't know how most people would respond if all of a sudden they had a voice that said, oh, move to Grenada, and they never been there, they don't know anything about it. So to trust that voice, that intuition, that draw, that feeling, I think that's an important part of it too. You were in the right place to say, okay, this feels right. Right. That's what intuition is, right? Going with your gut. So, okay. Excellent.
The funny thing was that I knew deep down, we all know what we're supposed to do. Because like 6 months before I decided to sell the house and move somewhere, I was searching, and I used to live in Ontario. I lived in a small town, but I wanted to move somewhere else, even smaller town. And I don't know why, I look at something like, I don't know, a real estate page or something, and St. George, tiny city, popped into my attention, and it's like St. George, and it was like a flag, like a green flag in my mind. It's like I was really drawn to it. It's like St. George, and I start researching this town, and it's like, oh, that looks really nice. The location is good, not too far from Toronto, and it's a really lovely community. And I start looking for houses there, and I was ready to purchase a house, but everything was going wrong. Like nothing, everything was just terrible. Like I could not purchase the house. The builder said, no, they're not building right now because it's COVID, and nothing was going right. So I gave up and I left it, and I'm like, okay. So when they told me about Grenada, guess what is the capital city here? St. George.
Interesting. Okay. No coincidences, like I said.
We know, but we know only pieces and bits. And that's why we need the guides to tell us It's
Mhm.
like, yes, you're on the right track, but not the right country. You're in the
Right.
wrong country.
That's funny. Mm.
Yeah, it was really funny when I think about it. It was like, wow, like we plan things we supposed to remember, but we don't.
Right,
And
right. And we don't always get the message exactly right because we
yeah,
may,
exactly,
yeah,
yes.
misinterpret the words. No, that's great. Um, and I mean, I'm imagining it's beautiful there,
Yes,
like very
it's
peaceful and like nature.
yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I know for me, I think that's what the universe is telling me, where what's happening to you will happen to me. You know what I mean? Because I've been pursuing these things, and I'm interested in all of these things, and I talk to so many people about all of the different aspects of energy and higher self and angels and past loved ones and near death experiences. And to me, they all kind of are coming from the same fabric. And that's really my fascination with it. So you specifically now, you've connected with, you have your own spirit guide who you talk through, right? Zach.
Yes, yes.
So tell us the story of how that started. How did Zach start appearing to you, and that relationship? How did that relationship grow into what it is today?
I um I decided that I was always when I met Laura on her website, like a podcast and things like that. I just listened to her, and when she started talking about spirit release, I got really interested about it. I was just drawn to it. It's like, wow, I really need to learn that. So I did. I went to the course in US, and I learned anything about it. But before that, I I took all kind of courses that I thought I needed, because I'm a medium, but I wasn't trans medium. So I took all kind of courses, kind of to see how is to get in trance, and I nothing happened. That
Mhm.
I was the worst in, I think, the whole course, because I had no experiences. I
Okay.
was like, everybody were talking about, oh, I met this guide, and and I'm like, yeah, nothing. I got nothing.
Right. 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 I
And I
I get it. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
and 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 then I find out why. There was on purpose, because my guides, I have different guides at that time. I had two different guides. I kind of knew who they were, but I really didn't communicate with them much.
Mhm.
But they were there. I could see them. I knew how they look like and things like that. But during those kind of courses with the trance meditation, I got absolutely nothing. And so I left it. I'm like, okay, I just go with the flow, see what's happened, because that's the person I am. I
Mhm.
just go with the flow.
Mhm.
and and then I went for the course. I signed up for the course, and we have to do some online classes first, and then we'll go to the physical location in US. And probably 2 months before, I always walk with my dogs in the morning. 2 months before the course, I felt very strong presence next to me,
Mm.
always on my right side, and I could see like a really large energy next to me,
Oh, wow.
and start communicating with me. And I'm like, what is this? Who is this? And then they start communicating very clearly that I could actually make sense in my mind, because before I wouldn't make any, like, my guides didn't, the other guides didn't communicate with me like that. And he said that his name is this and that. He came specifically for the trance, to do the trance meditation, the trance SRT, that I'll be trance medium for SRT, for the
Mhm.
spirit release. And he was here because he's trained for this particular job. And so I accepted him, and then I was checked by other mediums that he's legit, because you have to do that too.
Mhm.
And he was, and then we went to the training, and I start doing the trance as I supposed to, and he started doing what he's supposed to do.
Mhm.
And then he was in contact with me like every day. I just go for a walk with my dogs and we walk in nature. There's nobody around, and I just have conversation with him, like I'm having with other human, and he will just tell me other things, and whatever questions I have, he can answer those questions. And at one point, I start getting the idea about Akashic record. I think that was him putting this in my mind, and and I asked him about it. He says, "Well, sure, you can do it." And I'm like, "What?" He says, "Yeah, you can do it. You just do it." I'm like, "How do I do it?" He says, "Well, you figure out." So I had to figure out myself.
Okay. And did you take any classes for that, or
No,
no?
no, I didn't. I just asked some people to be my guinea pigs, and I just sit with
Practice.
people on the front of me, and then and just we'll see what's happened, right? And then I start feeling a presence on my left side, always on my left. And I'm like, "And who are you?" And I could see them. And I'm like, "Oh." And they kind of explained to me, "We are the spirit guides of this person who is going to come here and talk to you." And I'm like, so this is how this is going to work. That
Interesting.
I'm not going myself to the Akashic record and going to look for the record of yours and read the records. No, they are the guides. They're gonna help me with that.
Gotcha.
And then slowly, I just figure out. And they were like, "Yeah, you did."
So, so I'm always curious about this, and you speak about your experience, with a certainty, right? So you say, "I was speaking with my guides, just like I'm speaking with you here," right? But so what is that experience like? I mean, was there a physical being present with you that you could see, and were you talking telepathically or physically, like conversation? I mean, I'm just curious as to what that might have looked like, what that experience might have felt like.
It's mostly telepathically.
Okay.
Like I can talk to him loud and he can hear me, but it's telepathically. The same like I speak to the guides of the people, my clients that I
Right.
read the Akashic records.
Okay.
Then like communicate telepathically. And on the beginning, of course, when you start communicating telepathically, you will be doubting yourself, because your human mind will kind of doubt that. It's like all kind of voices. That it's just practice. It's the same. I had to kind of accept it and just ask my human mind to be quiet at this moment and not interfere. And
Right.
then I can hear very clearly what he's talking to me, and I can pass those messages to other people. Or if we've met your guides and they had messages for you, because they know you the best.
Interesting. So I actually want to take a couple of steps back, because you mentioned some things that brought you to where you're at, and you mentioned the spiritual clearing, spiritual release, specifically, and I know Lara talks about that, and there's a lot of talk about entities that attach themselves to you, and if I'm getting this right, it was that spiritual release that allowed you to kind of tap into your own abilities. So these energies or whatever it was that you released was kind of preventing you from getting through to your own abilities. Is that a correct assumption? Is that the
Yes,
right way to put
that's
it?
also, yes, definitely. That's a big part of that, because the negative entities, they don't want you to become a powerful consciousness and realize who you really are. That's not for their benefit. So of course they
Okay.
will.
So the spiritual release, again, I hadn't been familiar with it until I kind of started watching Lara, that specific thing, and it seems like it's very common, right? And it seems like that's just kind of the way the universe works, right? With energetic spirits and beings, the way they interact with each other on a non-physical level. Um, so I guess my question for you is, what was that specific spiritual release for you? And what happened at that point? And then the next question would be, I guess, how do you facilitate that for others?
For me, personally, was when I learned about that from Lara. I paid somebody to do that for me. Somebody that was doing this for 20 years, and
Mhm.
I paid the person, and I felt like a different person after that.
Mhm.
Um, the There was so many changes. I just have like chatter in my mind, always telling me, things, or preventing me to do things, or they were just. It was rather negative. This whole experience was very negative,
Mhm.
but and I always had a feeling that's not right. That's not me.
Mhm.
But
Mhm. Mhm.
but how you get rid of that, I
Mhm.
tried meditation, I try all kind of things, and nothing really helped actually. I couldn't meditate for a long time because of the negative energies that
Mhm.
they were attached to me.
Mhm.
So when after the clearing that I received, I felt like a brand new person. So that's why I really wanted to learn myself. And I just wanted to, I guess that was my experience. um, I had to have this experience to get where I am right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I got really passionate about this work,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I wanted to help other people. And then I did the same for my mom. I paid for the clearing for my mom, and she was a different person. She was very negative, very difficult person before the clearing for many years. And then she was like a totally different person. And I'm
Wow.
like, wow, that really works because
And like instantly, like right away, like
yeah, the next day. The next
wow.
day. Yes. It
Wow.
was like day and night, especially in her situation, because she she collected a lot because she's older, and if you go through life, you can collect more than others.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you are a very negative person, that you kind of attract even more.
Right.
And so the low vibrations invite more low vibrations, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Energy is everything, you know.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly. So,
so,
so
I,
I saw that that is real. That is
yeah,
not fake, because so many things is out there, and they tell you wonderful things. You hear the sales pitch, and and then nothing. So I tried it
right.
on myself. I tried it, and I listened to other people who received that, and everybody were just really happy about that. So I wanted to learn that. I just wanted to help
Mhm,
people.
mhm. And now in that process, yeah, in that process, my question would be, I guess, the person who helped clear the entities, did they explain, do they like tell you like, oh, this is the entity and this is kind of why it's attached itself, and this is, just kind of so that you understand the reason for it, and that it can become clear the change before and after, like, oh, now I understand why that makes sense.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yes, yes, that's very important to understand why you got it at the first place,
Hmm.
and how to protect yourself. The spiritual protection is very important, especially if you are um, trying to meditate, you opening yourself up. You're a healer, and you're not doing any protection,
Hmm.
psychic protection. Then of course you're easy target,
Hmm.
because you're wonderful energy. First of all, you're healing people, so they don't like that. They they don't like when others help others. So
Right.
unfortunately, that sounds really crazy. because most people don't even know about it, but that's their reality that we live in.
Right.
And it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, I certainly can understand being a three-dimensional being, and growing up kind of not, you have to have the sense of what's outside of the three dimensions to grow and to even have these conversations. And I think a lot of people don't, right? I think the conditioning of most of the planet is like you said, you don't talk about it when you're a kid. If you're talking to spirit, you don't talk about it. In society, it's kind of pushed under the carpet. And I think, I'm super excited about the fact that people like yourself and Lara, this is becoming more and more accepted. People are looking inside. People are seeing, aspects of themselves and aspects of existence that they just don't have experience with, and saying, wait a second, there's something more here, to explore. So I was thinking about this, and I may be off, I may be on. The idea of entities, are these entities related in any way to the actual person that they've attached themselves to, or are they just kind of totally separate, or are they maybe past life energies? Are they, or other aspects of that same energy? Does that make sense, that question?
Oh, yes, yes. No, they're usually not related.
Not
Uh,
really. Okay.
yes, we also helping earthbound spirits that they are stuck here on Earth.
Mhm.
And we always ask if they are attached to a person, if they are related, but we didn't find many that are really related. The
Okay.
earthbound spirits mostly like they kind of stuck here, and they need the source of energy, so they need to attach themselves
Hmm.
to a person.
Hmm.
And they're not very positive, because mostly the positive will go to the light, go to the other side, and
Hmm.
the negative will kind of stick around and
Mm.
bother others.
Mm.
So we didn't find many related, maybe very few. I personally uh,
Gotcha.
didn't.
No, that's it. That's a great answer. That I was just curious because I've been kind of, again, I kind of taken all of this information, and for me, some of the concepts that resonate with me, um inside, I struggle with as a 3D person, right? To kind of understand them. So things like the idea that, time doesn't exist, and that this now moment consists of every moment that's ever happened, that ever will happen, like that's what existence is. um I find a lot of comfort in knowing just that concept and that idea, and feeling comfort in it. But as as a human, I'm like, I don't even understand what it means. You know what I mean? It's very difficult, to wrap your head around it. But in that also, being interested in quantum physics and the things that are going on in science, and how they're talking about superposition of molecules, and a molecule can
Mhm.
be in all the states at once, right? And how that can relate to, okay, maybe that explains God, the idea of God. How can God be everywhere at once? You know what I mean? So I'm loving the crossover of the information that is starting to become available to us as three-dimensional beings, right? Um,
Yes.
and I love that as intuitive beings, and people who are do practice their metaphysical gifts, they've already kind of tapped into these non-physical realms and have been interacting with this information all along. um and so I mean, I'm just, it's interesting in this moment. We were talking earlier about like fear and hope, that hope is really needed in this moment because there is so much fear. I feel like I'm super excited,
Yes. Yes.
about what's to come with humanity.
Mhm.
And now that's not to say, I will admit that it flip flops, right? There are moments in my existence where I'm like, okay, I'm 58 years old, and all of my existence on this earth, I've never felt this energy of uncertainty, right? Which is outside of me. I don't feel like that's the energy inside of me. I feel like the energy inside of me is certainty and hope and love, which is why I do what I do, and I try to get people like you on this show to spread that message. And I wanted to also mention that there's a couple of people in the chat room who are totally endorsing the idea of these clearings, clearing the energies. And I also agree with you that most people are oblivious to energy in general. So the idea that there's an entity attached to them and that's affecting the things in their life is such a foreign idea. And how can we convince more people to give it a chance, to open it up to the idea that maybe there are things affecting their lives that they should look at?
Usually people can tell if something is not right because your mood will just drop really, really suddenly. And then some people experience, like, as we call it, bad luck, that everything you touch is just not working. And it's just getting worse and worse, like bad luck. Basically, that's easy to remember. And I experienced that myself too, that it's just everything just goes to hell. And nothing, you touch something and it's just bad. It's getting worse and worse, and you getting worse and worse because you're feeling worse and worse because nothing is going right. And then you start having intrusive thoughts and more, and then depression, and then getting deeper and deeper. So when people feeling like that, then they know it's something not right. Because they are, in general, they're not like that. So that's the time to start, think about what is happening, why I'm feeling like that. Can I help myself? Cheer up, and of course the lack of energy is like a big sign, because those entities, they will just suck you dry, as we say it. They really, they just take all your energy, and you wake up in the morning and you're worse in the morning than you went to bed. You just exhausted. So that's like the signs that it's time to get clearing.
Right.
And then people usually have great responses, and they saying, I feel, they sending messages and emails that I'm feeling so much better. I feel like a new person. And I experienced that on myself. And
well, yeah, you said that you experienced that with your mom, like right away. There was an immediate change in the energy. So I guess, and I'm just thinking as we're talking, so forgive me. But so for me personally, like, I know I was experiencing some really interesting energy a couple of weeks ago, feeling very disconnected, kind of lost, unfocused. And I didn't have a clearing, right? But I did have a session with you a couple of days ago. But in the last couple of days, I've definitely felt a change in that energy, right? I feel very connected. I feel very driven to some of the projects that I'm working on, and more closer to my purpose, right? And who I am, and why I'm here. But I didn't do any clearing now. So I guess my question is this.
I tell you a little secret. All my customers get clearing.
Okay. So you did do a clearing on me when we had our session. And
yes, because I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to entity or something else. I need to talk to you. I need your clear mind. So it's like very general clearing. It's not like a deep anything. It's just the major things are getting disconnected, and then I can freely talk to you. because I don't want to talk to something else. I need your clear mind and your guides too. So it's a mutual effort. Everybody, your guides, my guides, they,
Okay.
I,
Okay.
of course, I ask permission. I ask
Yes.
permission for your higher self,
Yeah.
because like I said, I don't want to talk to something else.
Yeah.
And
It makes a
yeah,
lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, and maybe I just kind of gave you a live testimonial, and I didn't even realize it that was the element that helped me shift my energy, and kind of get clear. That's
yeah.
exactly what it felt like. That's exactly what I feel like now, and in the past couple of days. And it was just 2 days ago that we had our meeting. So I think I'm making that realization now that that's kind of where it came from. So that's awesome. Now, I had asked you earlier about when people do these clearings today, explain to you. So did you what did you feel? What was your experience from our session? I'm curious as to your assessment of my energy, where I was before we started, where I was when we finished.
When we started, I saw some dark energies around you,
Mhm.
and immediately, and you were just down. I could feel that you were just down. You were defeated. Like, seems like your energy was like, I'm down. I'm defeated.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then it's like, um, I can immediately sense, and I can see that the energy is not you. It's not you.
Mhm.
So, telepathically, I talk to my guide, your guides, and of course, I get the permission, and I ask your higher self, because I don't want to get your attention to it, because I want you to concentrate on your session.
Mhm.
And it just, and then 5 minutes later, I know you're okay and I can talk to you. And
Yeah.
I know I'm talking to you, not somebody else,
Yeah.
or you under influence. And when you finished the session, you were very happy and uplifted, and you were just you.
Yeah.
And I think notice that.
I absolutely did, 1,000,000%, and I didn't even really. Honestly kind of didn't make the connection until just now. Until we were reconnected, and so you hear here live, folks. I had a session and definitely feel clearer. I feel cleared. I had a clearing, and that's what I feel like. So I'm excited to be able to actually authentically give you that testimonial, because I mean, that's I didn't have to make that up. I didn't have to feel like, ooh, I got to say something good. No, it's the real truth. um so we don't have a lot of time left. I like to try to keep it to an hour and respect
Of
everybody's
course.
time, your time, people who want to go to sleep and stuff like that. But something that's interesting to me, is again this crossover, right? So a spiritual, a psychic mediumship, the idea of talking to people's past loved ones is very specific, and spirit guides are also very specific. But what am I trying to get at here, Adriana? I'm trying to get at the idea of the connection between the spirit realm and the cosmic realm, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of talk right now about disclosure and aliens and the rest of the universe, what's out there, right? But there's a lot of history in spirituality that is connected to the universe and entities that may not be earth entities, right? So I guess, what are your thoughts about where that's all headed, and how that's all related to spirit guides and humanity, and this moment in our humanity?
Like, people think there will be some big disclosure and they're gonna land it here. They're already here.
Mhm.
They've been here all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's just we don't really see them, because my guide is galactic, and so do yours too. Your guide is galactic guide too. Because if you are a star seed, you came here to help with the shift. Your guides are going to be galactic.
Mhm.
That's natural.
Mhm.
So they've been here, and of course there will be some kind of, I believe, fake disclosure,
Right, right,
and and then humans have to even awaken more
right,
and see the deceptions and lies, and who is doing that. That's who
right,
is behind the curtain. The as we know. So
right, right,
who's,
right,
who is doing all this nonsense,
right,
and then more humans awake to that, and then of course when we are ready, when many humans are awake, to this idea, even that there is more than just this planet, and
right.
there is other lives on other planets, then of course they gonna show themselves, but we have to
Right.
be ready for that.
You
But
know what? And I think that in my head again, I'm just responding to this conversation. I'm thinking that the idea of ego, or the way that ego manifests itself within humanity, right, is really, that's what we're talking about. Humanity not even realizing, like, wait a second, your history, your ancient history, your ancestors are galactic.
yes,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? It's yeah. And I think that's great.
They everywhere, like all the Vikings.
Hmm.
All the Vikings that influenced the Northern Europe, they are Ancient Pleiadians,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Thor was just one of them. Well, they
Right.
made him God. All the Egyptian gods, they were Syrians. They built the very old Egypt, and
Hmm.
then we have the Greek. They were Pleiadians as well. They were actually naughty Pleiadians pretending to be gods and
Hmm.
exploiting humans. And there is Andromedans influence India. Lord Shiva, Krishna, uh, Ganesh. That's Andromedans. Those
Hmm.
are Andromedans, and they were just influencing humans once in a while. They came, they spread the news and things like that. And they were teaching humans how to behave,
Yeah.
and then they left. And when everybody left, they make them gods because they remember they have special powers,
Hmm.
and that's how it started. But the galactics beings, they were always here, and they even here now probably, but not really showing themselves so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. That's. uh, Again, I'm just thinking, like, as humans, like, thinking that that's the disclosure. That's the disclosure that's going to happen. Not like, oh my God, they're coming from here or here or here, but no, we came from them. That's
Yes.
kind of I think where disclosure is going to be. And that's significant, right? Like, I don't think our actual true history of who humans are has been really discussed much, right? We're all caught up in the political borders and how we've decided to run this planet, but there's something way, way bigger than us, that's really kind of the hierarchy of how it all works. um but, well, you know what, we're falling into line. I think where there's a good contingency of people who are at peace with that, you know what I mean, and kind of trying to help everybody else usher them into the new age of that understanding, of how the universe works. um and you know what, in all of this, speaking about it, what do we really know?
Yeah,
How the universe works, right? Here we are trying to be experts and talk about it like we've got it under control, right?
yeah,
we
yeah.
we,
It's
we
we
don't know.
only know like pieces and bits,
Yeah.
and that's all. Well, maybe we know, but we can't remember.
Right. That's right. And it's all about, like, riding the wave, right?
Yes,
Floating on that piece of wood that you're on, and just being able to go with the flow and ride the wave, and
exactly.
allow yourself to feel through it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. Adriana, I don't even feel like we've scratched the surface of the things that we can discuss. I'm super excited to have met another human being who is got their feelers in all of these different realms and energies, and can be a conduit, you know what I mean, to others to help express that. It's great. This community is amazing. I love all of you guys in the chat room for being here and listening to us blabber about these things. But this is important stuff, right? This is stuff that isn't talked about in offices and in schools and in the mainstream, and it's important stuff that
Yes,
I think
it's very important. Yes.
everybody needs to know. So thank you so much for being here. Hang out in a second. Don't go anywhere, because I want to talk to you after I sign off the show. And
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate that. And
you're welcome.
I just want to say I'm a huge introvert. I don't speak to many people, so I struggle a little bit.
You know what, and I gotta say thank you for saying that, because that makes me appreciate you being here even extra. I know that you told me, you know, Lara told you who I was, and you watched my show and you liked it, and that's why you felt comfortable coming on the show and being here. So thank you so much for stepping out of your comfort zone. I think that the world needs to hear what you have to say, for sure. So I'm glad I can share it with everybody. And Kara agrees. Amazing conversation. Thank you from Amuria as well. Yeah, I think it's important. And here we are. We showed up. We shared the love. Thank you for being here. I'm going to put you in the green room. I'm going to say goodbye. Don't go anywhere. And we'll
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for support. Bye-bye.
We'll see you soon. Oh my goodness, folks. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy doing this every Thursday night, being here with you guys, being able to absorb the energy of another cosmic soul who is experiencing all of these things in a different way than I am. And we can exchange that energy and share that, and then share it with you guys. I love, especially when you guys comment back and tell us your experiences. I try to share it up on the screen so everybody can see it. I love when you guys talk to each other in the chat room, because I love, and that's what that is. That's you guys expressing no judgment, the willingness to connect to each other as human beings. I think that's what the world needs more of. I am playing it by ear, folks, over the next couple of weeks. I'm looking at my calendar, and I don't know specifically who I've got coming up on Tuesday on Holding Space. Let me just raise the calendar here a little bit. It doesn't even look like I've got it marked down in my calendar. So I do know I've got a bunch of great people in my life and great guests that'll be coming on the show. So stay tuned. Show up. Just show up. That's all you got to do. And I guarantee you'll have a good time. I haven't said it in a while, but I am the only podcast that I have ever seen on the internet that offers a 100% money back guarantee. Okay. So if you don't like what you saw here tonight and you want your money back, just reach out to me. You didn't give me any money, so you're not going to get anything back, but at least I'll know. I don't know what that even means. It's a silly joke. All right, guys, I will see you guys next week. I'm just feeling high on life, and I appreciate you. So peace. See you next week. Adios, muchachos. Oh, where's my outro? Right here. TLOC.
This is the theme song for the live stream of consciousness. You gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or you are dream reality. We're